Hello, Boxhead Paper Crafters. Welcome to the American football paper toy pitch, stand and posts crafting video. Got all our post line up there and got a little pad, and this can be used as a little stand to put your paper toy American footballer on. And you can see I'm going straight in with the cut in there. I'm cutting the post away from the pitch or the stand right there, just so that when we're doing all those tricky bits for both the pitch and the posts mainly, that we've not got spare paper flapping around. Now you would have seen that I pointed at an X across in the middle of the pitch there, and that is where we need to make a cut in the middle of the paper. We can't cut towards that. So I'm using a craft knife to do this. And if you're not confident using a craft knife, or you've got no experience of using a craft knife, then it'd be good to get somebody involved who is, just to make a little cut there, and it'll become obvious. You can see there it is, the little cross cut there. That's where the post is going to get stuck into, and we can open that up by sticking a pencil through it for the time being. That's where the post is going to slot through right there. But let's get on with cutting out the rest of the stand, the field, and here we go. So keeping scissors nice and straight, turn that paper around the scissors. Most of the work is being done with your non-cutting hand, in my case my left hand, and that steers and controls the paper rather than having to try and bend and twist the scissors around the paper. So there we go, just take your time even with these long straight cuts. Want some nice long straight lines there. See how I'm not closing the scissors completely. I'm just sort of making the cut as I go along, and that avoids any sort of jagged cut edges along there, and then just sort of moving the paper around the scissors to get those nice curves. So this American football field stand comes as part of the every American football papercraft pack. So you get the body and the boots and shoulder pads of the American football paper toy, and you get a field as well in matching colours. And we've got 32 different colours on my website that you can buy and download and craft away. And you can match that up with a bunch of different heads to go on your paper toy craft body. You can download those heads for free. There's a whole range of haircuts and hair colours and ethnicities on my site, so you can pick one that looks a little bit like you or a little bit like a friend, and you can download that for free, have a go at paper crafting for free first, and then when you're feeling confident and happy, you can go and buy an American football paper toy. So here we go, just finishing off the field here. There's final cuts there. And then moving on to the folds, there's a couple of tabs at either end of the field, 1, 2, and then also sort of the end of the base, the end of the stand, folds over there. Same at the other end as well. And there's no folds on the field at all. That's because we're going to bend the field around those end bits, and I'll show you how to do that now. See how? No, you can't see it. Oh, no, you can't see how that bent around there, but you can see me bending the paper there like that. You can do it freehand and sort of roll it around your fingertips so that the paper bends into a bit of a curve. And there you go. You can see, sort of see a little bit better there. That's it. How it sort of bends around that curved bit at the end there. Just need a little bit of tape on the end, smooth that down. There we go. Oops, off camera again, but back on. So you can see I'm holding the tab at the back onto the red end of the stand, and there you can see how you get that nice curve. Now another way to do the curve is to grab a pencil and then just roll the paper around the pencil, and then you'll get that nice curve going all the way along there. Do it nice and gently, otherwise you get a few sort of like extra creases in the paper, and it can spoil the effect a little bit, but whatever you're comfortable with. And then just like we did before, we line that tab up with the very end, that red end of the stand. Stick that down there, stick the other end down as well. Get it nicely lined up. Stick half of your tape on one side, just adjust and line it up again, and then stick it to the other side. And there you go, you've got your American football paper toy stand. Almost complete. Remember, we had that cut that we made in there. You can fiddle and adjust and curve those ends there a little bit more if you need to. And that's where your American football paper toy stands. See, there he goes. You can stand them on there just like that, I suppose, if you want. But to complete the look, complete the effect, let's cut those posts out and fold and stick them together. So back with the scissors, and I'm going to cut each post out like so first. Again, so that helps us with those sort of like tricky curves and cutting out those little tabs there. So we'll leave the bits that we still need to one side. Keep a nice tidy craft table. And then that helps us, by separating those out, that helps us cut these smaller curves and smaller bits, more detailed bits. You'll notice on each of the posts there's actually, it looks like there's 5 sides to the posts, but there's not that 5th side, this bit that I'm just cutting around here now. That 5th side is actually a tab that slots on the inside of the post, and that'll become clearer as to what that does as we get to the folding part. But we'll carry on with the cutting now. See how we move that paper around the scissors. The scissors hardly move there for that in between those cuts. Leave all the rubbish to one side. And here we go, you'll be able to see that is one side of the post that you'll be able to see. Make a nice crease and fold along those lines there, those dotted lines. And then get the paper comfortable in your hands before you make a definite fold and crease. It might help if you turn the paper around, you get a better sort of balance. But there you go, you can see with just need to do those little folds on the end there. They're like the folds on the stands, they're going to curve around to give us a nice rounded post. But you can see that tab tucks in there so that we've got a more stable post. This is one of the end upright posts. So there's 2 end upright posts, there's a crossbar, and then there's a post that goes into the base. That makes up our 4 posts. Just doing a little bit of sticking there with a little bit of tape. And you see how that sort of bends round and gives us a nice curve on the end there. Do the same at the other end as well. Just tuck that in, tuck that folded tab in. You can see it nice and clearly there. Put the tape on one side and then close that gap up. See, just like that, and then bend the sellotape around the end there. And if you feel like there's a few gaps that need taping up, that it's not as stable as you'd like, then by all means add a little bit more tape. But there's one of the 2 upright posts. You can see, I'll move on to do the second one now as well. So cut along those lines, get rid of that. It's mainly getting rid of the white paper, the unprinted paper. But following those cut lines all the way through as well. Again, moving the paper around the scissors. Take the scissors out, you don't have to twist and turn to make those tricky or seemingly tricky cuts. Make it nice and easy on yourself. Take the scissors completely out of the paper area and put them back where the next cut is to make it nice and easy. Okay, same thing again with the folds. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 long folds that we make, and then 2 smaller folds that are just coming up. You can see them on either edge of that next tab there. Like I say, turn the paper around if that maybe makes it easier to fold it, especially if you've got big fingers and big hands like mine. Again, remember that 5th side to our post actually tucks in on the inside and is a tab which covers the gap, but also gives us a sturdier 3D shape. Makes it sturdy and a bit stronger. And there we go with those end tabs to give us that curve at the end of each post. Tuck that one in there as well. Little bit of tape. It's really handy having a tape dispenser when you've got those little bits of tape to do. They're only a few dollars or pounds or francs or whatever currency you're buying your stationery in. They don't cost too much, but if you've not got one, don't worry. You can cut out I'd recommend cutting out a whole bunch of little tabs of tape so that you don't have to keep going back to your roll and cutting a piece off every time. Cut out a whole bunch of little tabs and sort of half stick them to your craft table edge, and then you can grab them as you need them. Now this is the crossbar post, and it looks a little bit strange. It's got a few little gaps here and there in it, and a few strange tabs to fold around. But if you watch closely, you'll see what they're for. Let's get rid of all those odd bits of rubbish, of extra paper that we don't need. So yeah, you can see how this sort of, again, now our poster's got sort of 5 sides to it, and that bit that I'm just cutting around there, that's where the centre post is actually going to slot in to this crossbar post. But we'll get to that in a bit. Just stick to sort of, even if you're not sure how it's going to work, just stick to cutting along the lines and folding along these lines. Those 2 folds are for tabs. Again, they're going to slot in to the very end, or wrap around and slot in at the end. Get those 2 longer folds in. Just nice and gently pinch the paper between your thumb and fingers. And then there you can see it sort of wraps all the way around, and then that tab and that tab tuck in. So you've got a gap, you've got a hole in that crossbar piece. So again, stick some tape on one side, line it up and fold it round. Same on that side as well. Now not only is the centre post going to slot into that hole, but you'll see in a moment that those 2 other posts that we've made, they're going to slot into those gaps there. So if we take one of those posts and we slide it in, we can see that end bit sort of like curves up, and we start to form the shape of our posts. So stick the crossbar onto the upright and wrap that sellotape round a little bit. Stick it together a little bit more. It's a little bit tricky, sort of lining up the balancing the posts and getting your fingers and your thumbs in the way of the sticky tape, but take your time and you'll get there. Stick that around, and if there's any sort of like extra bits of tape like that, then you can always trim them off with these scissors, just to sort of tidy up the toy a little bit. But there you go, you can see how that's coming together now. I'm going to stick our other post on the end there, like so. Slot it in, and then that end piece wraps around. We get some tape over the end there, like so. You can see it's sort of like a little bit wonky and a little bit floppy. We just need to put a little bit more tape on that on the inside there. Be a little bit tricky. There we go. And the same for the other side as well. Just a little bit of tape on the inside will give us that nice sort of H shape or U shape for the moment, because we've still got to slot we've still got to cut out and slot that middle post in yet. But we've got that far. There isn't apart from the post, we've got that little bit there. We'll get to that little bit in a moment. For now, we'll just cut out this final post, the final upright. Just like the other posts, it's got looks like it's got 5 sides to it. But remember, that 5th side is actually the tab that folds onto the inside of the post to give it a bit more strength. Make the 3D shape a little bit more solid. And turn that paper around, scissors for the curves. And for when you're going around those sharp right angles as well. So you just turn it straight round, and you don't need to move your scissors at all. Just take your time with those little cuts. Don't want to cut too far into the fold lines that you can see there. Those dotted lines are the fold lines. And then, like we've done with all the other posts, just nice and gentle bending of the paper to get those folds. Last long one there, and then we've just got the smaller tabs right on the end, just to fold in a little bit. There we go, and then we'll roll that around, and you can see sort of the folds that we've made it help us to make the final shape that we need. So remember, tuck that 5th tab onto the inside there, fold the tape round, roll it round on that side, and then just overlap those end tabs there, and then you can tape them up. There's one end, there's the other end. Nice little bit of tape on the very end. There we go, there's our centre post, and that's going to go in. Remember that gap that that was in the crossbar post? Give it a bit of a jiggle, little slot in there like that, and look, that stands nice and upright, and that's going to slot in to that hole there. Remember that hole that we made? It's going to slot in right there. You might need to put a little bit of pressure in, see how it goes all the way through there. Then it stands up there. Just adjust it a little bit. But then this last bit here, is actually going to be a pad that wraps around the base of the post. Just like the professionals. Oh, hold on, that's not like the professionals. There we go, we can see what I'm doing there. Just like the professionals, they've got a big pad down the bottom to stop them if they run into it, and stops them hitting the head and getting hurt too much. I'm not too sure what a paper pad would do, but it works for our paper toy American footballer. Anyway, yes, you can see folding, just like the pad, just like the posts. The pad has 5 sides to it, but that 5th side tucks in nicely inside there. And then we have a bit of tape on the end there. And both ends are open, so we can just slot that over the upright post there, and it's a nice little bit of detail. I've got to push that through again. Sometimes you might have to make the hole a little bit bigger to slot that through, but yeah, there we go. There's the pitch and the post and the stand complete. And there's your little paper towel American footballer, all ready, all done, stood on his little field, his posts and his helmet on. Thanks for watching. Happy crafting, box headers.